Okay, John Turner, Head of IT at Presbyterian Ladies College, has been involved in the Flat Classroom and Horizon projects for a couple of years now. John, tell us just briefly your experience with your students in the projects.
This is our second time, and it was just as positive, both for the students coming to it for the first time, of understanding the Web 2 potential, and most importantly getting connections with students around the world on joint projects. For me, it showed just how much we had moved in 12 months on the number of new software that we could use, such as Delicious, and the way that we could creatively apply them for educational value.
Now, a focus of what we're doing with these projects and the future of these projects is how Web 2.0 tools and how global collaboration improves learning. Do you have some insights on that you'd like to share with us?
Yes, we always audit against the research of how any IT can be used for learning, because we don't want to just use it just for the sake of it. And when we audited it against all of the criteria, the project stood up. So things like motivation, the kids could work on their own. They worked independently. They didn't need teacher interruption. Teacher support was there. In terms of concentration, the bell would ring was the major problem. They'd keep working through it. They would use their own time. In terms of cognitive processing, they were processing their own data, both text and multimedia. And I could go through, and we don't have time. But in terms of teamwork, which is very obvious that they were in a global team with people that they never physically met, and they were doing as good a work as if what they could do in the traditional classroom. The individual differences was very significant. I found that academically weaker students could hold their own, and in some cases actually surpassed those who probably had a better reputation in the more traditional measurements. Visual literacy in terms of the video requirements, they were operating in that. Transferable skills, which I showed you before in terms of the projects that the students have gone on and worked in projects outside IT, in terms of history, which I haven't shown you, but in terms of history and other things, and also in video production. Artistic expression, they had freedom on that. Personal learning, the positive feedback from the students was strong. Global awareness in terms of their understanding of culture and the fact that students their own age actually were the same as them around the world, had their own likes and dislikes. Some and the students, some of them they didn't particularly like as group members, but they had to work with them. So in terms of that, value beyond school in terms of the role that Wiki is playing in terms of digital economy and things like that. The productivity and efficiency, which I think is important from the project, that we have timelines and assessment that they know there is a certain competitive element, both personal and against others, but they see that as a positive of life and learning. Managing IT for an audience, and then of course the IT career pathways. They can see how this could be a potential future. Is that enough?
That's great. But just to finish up, where do you see the future of these projects? Do you see them being embedded more into the curriculum across perhaps what you're doing here in Victoria, Australia, or internationally? What do you see?
It's already happening at the bottom level. If I start there, in terms of history now has a wiki on World War I. That will link into other schools locally. That will then link into global, like I mentioned, national. I mentioned in terms of the Women in IT project, where we have Monash and digital and people from the workplace. And you and I were talking about the possibility of schools connecting from. I would see that even being able to be done. So what we've done could be applicable in any learning situation, because it's about knowledge construction. Now, I'm not saying it's something they do all the time, but when they have things and they know it and they want to learn more, learning from others, as we find as adults, helps us learn better. And I think in terms of wikis, I'm very enthused by the potential of the technology to bring people together in a constructive way.